So what are our options? Well, so I can recommend some different pieces of software. I don't know all of the different software, poker software in the world, but I know the ones that some of the ones that work. So the first one, I can immediately recommend is the HUSNG.com free 3-bet tool that was made by Genher. You can find that on the HUSNG.com website. It's free. It does card removal. It's really simple to use, and it makes nice charts. Um, you just plug in certain, simple situations. You give villain range, and it makes a chart of all the different hands and equities. So the major limitation is that it doesn't allow you to input custom calling ranges. The calling ranges there are already made. So there's like a super tight, tight, medium, loose, loosest. And so you're not able to change those in your own. And I think that's a pretty major limitation. If you're looking for cursory estimates, if you're new, I think that in some cases it might even make your life easier because you don't have to think of those calling ranges on your own. I think it's a limitation. It also only works for 3-bet shoves. You can't do open shoving in it. And I put a link, or I guess you won't be able to click on the link, but I put the website that you can find it at. Again, it's just under the tools, and there's a link to it there, the HUSNG.com website. And it does include card removal, so that's a big benefit. Another one that does it is the Pro Poker Tools Odds Oracle. This is the same tool that I was using to do the calling ranges in part 1. So it has a shove equity tool in it, and it simulates shoving for custom situations. And so you can make almost any situation you want. And so this includes shoving over limps and open shoving and things like that. It includes card removal and does allow you to put input ranges. So you can input opening ranges, calling ranges, all that kind of stuff. And also allows you to input, to compute equity of shoving entire ranges, not just hands. So like you can, given a villain's calling range, you can compute the equity of shoving aces, kings, and queens, all averaged together. It's kind of cool, but notice it's mostly useless in academic feature. Like in game, we're only being dealt one hand at a time. Our decision making is always based on the hand that we're dealt. And so often, dealing with shoving an entire range is pretty much useless because villain doesn't know our range. It doesn't make a difference in anything. Academic reasons are just, just to have an idea of the equities of strategies. That's what it's going to be useful for. And so the major limitation of this software is it doesn't create charts for you. So if you want to look at the situation where villain's calling a tight range at 25 big blinds deep, what hands can you open shove? You have to go one by one through all the hands, compute the equities, plug them into Excel to make like a chart, to be able to look at something and say, okay, I can shove these hands and not these hands. Unlike the Genher tool, for instance, which does all the hands at once. You plug in the 25 big blinds, you plug in the calling range, and the min raise, and you in the min raising range, you can see all the hands you can 3-bet shove and all the equities of the different hands. So that's, for me, that's a pretty big limitation. So lastly, there's IC-Miser. I guess IC-Miser mostly used because it does ICM estimates, but it actually has it does do 3-bet shoves and open shoves for heads up situations as well. It also has card removal, and what's great, it has a lot of really great features. So it has a great method for putting in ranges. So especially like percent ranges. If you know that villain's calling top 30%, the ability to pick a good top 30% using different orderings is really, really important. Because like for instance, Pro Poker Tools lets you type in top 30%, but it gives you a 30% that's based on full ring estimates. So not very good. Whereas you can actually play around with the IC-Miser ones. You can make your own custom orderings, or you can just use the few pre-made ones that are try to be more accurate in these kind of situations. As I said, it takes into account card removal. It makes charts, unlike Pro Poker Tools. It makes entire, very pretty charts. And even has more features to give you more information. It can do some other graphs of how equity changes with calling range, how equity changes with your hand, and things like that. So So it's very good software. Right now, the only limitation is that it doesn't compute equity of shoving over limps. It's in development. I guess the idea behind ICMizer was to always have a better reference point. So when you're 3-bet shoving, you're comparing to folding. When you're limping, there's really not much to compare it to, and so I guess that led to some confusion. But I guess right now it is in development to add in just being able to compute the equity of shoving over limps, so that should be a feature that's going to be there soon. And so this is the software that I use, and I found it's best for doing shove math. It does all of it at once, takes into account card removal, has really easy ways for putting in ranges and dealing with ranges, and it makes, the charts. And so I heartily recommend it. I think that it's the best thing, you can use. And I will be showing its uses and doing some sample calculations in my next video. I'm going to do a video just of ICMizer. I think it is that important. I think that having good 3-bet shoving ranges, having good open shove ranges with shorter stacks, and knowing how those are related to villains' calling ranges is incredibly important. And so I'm going to be doing a video just showing how to use the program, showing some sample uses, calculating some 3-bet shove ranges, etc. In my next video. So we're getting to the end. So what do I suggest for private study? So again, out-of-game practice with Flopzilla I think is really, really important. Just to have a feel for how opening ranges transform on flops, what the equity of different hands looks like versus calling ranges, all that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that are going to get you a sense of the needed fold percent for different outs and different situations. So you don't have to look up the charts in the game. Right. So, and in general, I think, though, having a sense of these charts and having a sense of the in-game chart, especially the one with fold percent, given number of outs, is very good. I think having a sense of these numbers is going to help you in-game. And using Flopzilla for sort of out-of-game review. Also, you can use the same methods for computing the equity or fold percent. You can fix one, compute the other. We have both equations done. For shoving in other spots, like over turn barrels, open shoving flops, shoving turns. The equations will all be of the same form, just with different P and C variables. So all the algebra is done for you. All you're going to have to do is figure out the numbers to plug in and, plug, and then, once the plugging the equation into Excel and make charts of your own. I definitely recommend it. I think that, there are a number of other spots. Being able to, check raise, knowing what cans you can check raise jam on turns versus barrels is also incredibly important. And as always, I really think that out-of-game study is going to make you more confident and give you more equity in game, and it's really worth it. So that's part 3. So I will be doing a part 3B, as I like to call it. It's going to be a lot of 3-betting too, so it's kind of a pun. Just dealing with ICMizer. I think it's worth doing just like a spot just on ICMizer, and I'll be using it to do 3-bet and open shove math. And I guess if shoving over limps is implemented by the time I do the video, I might do that as well, but otherwise at least talk about it. And so yeah, that'll be the rest of this video. Since this will still be dealing with shoving, I'm still considering it sort of part 3. And part 4, we're going to start doing, for me, I think, more fun stuff. This was sort of really trying to go through the basics and give you sort of a foundation, and a foundation that's a little bit more rigorous than I think most of you have. And so in part 4, we're going to be comparing shoving with not all-in betting and trying to start putting, to use all this math to begin crafting strategies and game plans. Trying to figure out what sorts of hands should we be 3-bet shoving versus not all-in betting? What sorts of hands should we be not all-in 3-betting versus 3-bet shoving? All those kind of ideas. And, for that, we're going to start trying to deal with multi-street thinking, start dealing with, approximating future street action, all that kind of stuff. So all that good stuff. So that'll be in parts 4 and later on. But yeah, all that fun stuff is going to start soon. All right. So I hope you guys will stay tuned to continue watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this was Coffee A for HUSNG.com. See you next time.